keep expecting like more. He knows because like he's also like, I've shared a bed with you for our entire lives. How do you think I would not notice? Like, it's one of those books where you just want to squeeze everything. It's so good, you just want to squeeze everything. It's taking me too long to get through this book. There's supposed to be chemistry between the two main characters, but I just don't see it. We have done it. We have made our way through the entire Tor and Orbit Sapphic Trifecta. Hello everyone, my name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Sapphic Trilogy Reading Vlog. We are doing it. We are here. We are ready. I'm ready to dive in to these wondrous books with you guys. We've got The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. This is a South Asian inspired fantasy. That's all I really know about it, and it's Sapphic. That's all I know. We also have She Who Became the Sun by Shelly Parker-Chan, which is a Sapphic fantasy that is Mulan meets Song of Achilles. I'm so ready. And then we have The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke, which is a Sapphic fantasy that is a epic fantasy about like espionage and empire and revolution and rebellion. And I am ready for all of these, and you guys are coming with me. So get ready, gird your loins, because it's time for the Sapphic Trifecta. Hello friends! So it is a little bit later and I picked She Who Became the Sun to read first, and I'm very happy that I did because I am currently on page 142 and I'm really enjoying this. I'm enjoying this a lot. It reminds me of the Poppy War in the same like narrative style, and the fact that we have a like coming of age story where we go through like a learning period where, you know, like in the Poppy War, Rin was in school for the first part, and then in this one, Chu is in like a monastery, right? Pretending that she's her brother. Really loving this, and I am actually tabbing it as I'm going through, which is very fun. Tabbing and annotating, which is something that I used to do with my classics for school a lot, the tabbing part, but because I annotate books with so much fervor, if I did that for every book would look like just tabs, all tabs, because I annotate a lot, like as I'm like, oh, that's a cool line, oh, this is lovely, this is my thought. Like I do annotations like almost continuously as I read when I'm really into a book. So this one's interesting because the writing is so different from my usual. It's not so different, it's just a lot more, what's the word? I don't even know. It's just like, it's thicker than my usual reads, I guess. Whenever I get into really high fantasy like this, I annotate less because my brain, I guess, needs more power to understand what's going on. That's a weird thing to say, but yeah, it's more high fantasy, really want to sink my teeth into it kind of writing, which I love. I've really missed. So I'm really liking this so far. So this one is following Chu, who is a young girl at the very beginning of this, who actually doesn't have a name at the beginning of this. Like, she's just referred to as the girl. And right at the beginning, her father and her brother and her go to a like market, and at the market they find like a fortune teller guy, and her father's like, please sir, tell me the fate of my son. And Zhu Changbo, her brother, gets told that he is going to be a man of just incredible greatness, and literally 2 days later he's dead. And in this moment, Zhu, or the girl, also gets told that her fate is going to be nothing. So she chooses on her brother's death to take his fate, become him, and is very Mulan-esque in that way. But then she goes to a monastery and she pretends to be a boy for years and years, which is interesting because she has to, obviously, she's not physically the same as every other man there. She has to evade like public bath time with the guys and like do like she's very sneaky about it when she first gets there, which is very interesting, and it just kind of sets her safety in motion, and she is safe for years. Something happens and she ends up leaving the monastery, and she's still pretending to be the monk, she's still pretending to be her brother, and she's basically taken his name. Ju is just pretending to be a guy. And so it's like now we're getting into a little bit more wartime. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I don't know where it's gonna go. All I know is that Shelly Parker-Chan has said that they are writing a duology, and it's like going to span the entire life of Zhu as they become an emperor, I believe. I believe it's like historically retelling a story about an emperor. I really don't know a whole lot about this story except for what I've said. This is what I'm going to be reading for the next little bit. I'm very excited to keep going with this. I will update you guys when I'm near the end or finish this. I'll see you in a bit. Hello friends, I thought I would pop in. It's a few days since I've started She Who Became the Sun. I am 100 pages from the end, just about 100 pages from the end, and I thought I'd pop in and do a little update while my lunch is in the oven. I am liking it. I keep expecting like more from it, so if these last 100 pages like absolutely crush me, you'll see me crying in the next clip. But right now it's like fine. I'm loving the conversations about gender and fate and all that kind of stuff, but it just is moving so fast through time, which I understand is the point. Shelly Parker-Chan is like, I wanted to chronicle this Empress Zhu's life from being a kid up, so we do have like time skip after time skip after time skip, and then even now, even though we're in the war and like we see Zhu like being a commander and shit, we just don't get that, like, I don't know. I want more, and I don't know what I want more of, but I want more, and it's making me sad. Maybe I want more, like, Song of Achilles vibes, because we haven't yet got no Song of Achilles vibes. And that's, like, what it's compared to, that we're getting all the Mulan vibes, I will say. The Mulan comparison is accurate as shit, because you know, like Mulan, like not only is she like masquerading as a man and all this kind of stuff, you get the fate, you get the destiny. I also really like the conversation of like, how can I say this? Like, you know, a lot in Greek mythology, especially like the Iliad and the Odyssey and shit, like you can't do nothing without the gods knowing what the fuck you're doing. They're all seeing, you know? They see everything, they know your heart, that kind of bullshit. That also transfers over into like Christianity and that kind of thing. But with this, Zhu's like whole shtick is that she wants to take her brother's destiny, you know? His fate. She's basically been masquerading as him the entire time, and only two people as so far have figured it out. Her like brother, her big brother from the monastery, who like she shared a bed with the entire time they were growing up. And when he like said to her that like, oh yeah, by the way, I do realize that you aren't a man, but like you're still a man if you want to be. You're still a man to me, which I thought was a really fantastic part. Zhu is amazing. I love him unendingly. He knows, because like he's also like, I've shared a bed with you for our entire lives. How do you think I would not notice? Like, and he's like, I don't give a shit. Do you, man? And I was like, that's pretty cool. That's a good move. And then of course, recently we have, as Zhu like becomes commander and shit, she like meets this woman named Ma, and they have like a connection, and she just has this like, it's more of a connection that you don't actually see. Like you see them talking to each other and whatever, and you see the trust in each other, but you don't like really see a lot of their like why they would be good together. Like you do, but it's not like at the forefront kind of a thing. Like with Patroclus and Achilles from the Song of Achilles, they grew up together. They fell in love that way, and you can see it. You can see the attachment there from Patroclus's point of view. This one I'm missing at a little bit, but with Ma, Zhu like has this connection, and she has a bunch of connections with women in this. But yeah, she shows Ma to gain Ma's like trust, because Ma is like, I don't have a choice, I don't have desires, I can't have desires, I'm a woman. And Zhu's like, listen to me. And she's like, but you're just another man, how can I trust you? And Zhu's like, look, and like takes off her clothes and shows that she's not a man. So I find that really interesting, and it's the conversation of being other, because we have Zhu, who feels other, like she doesn't feel like a woman, she doesn't feel like a man all the time, like she fits more comfortably as a man because that's how she's been for the past ever. Since she was a kid, and that's really interesting. But then we have the eunuch, Wuyang, and he's really interesting because he outwardly looks like a woman. He's very, very feminine features, but the way that Zhu describes him is so interesting, because she's like, yes, he's beautiful like a woman, but you know automatically when you look at him that he is not a woman, because he literally looks like he could kill you, and he could kill you because he's a war general. And so it's like the like calls to like, the fate, all of that's a really interesting conversation. So I'm really liking this book. I keep wanting more. I think this book is going too fast. I think that's what it is. I know that Shelly Parker-Chan originally planned this to be a trilogy, but Tor wanted it to be a duology because that's what's selling right now in fantasy. So I know she had to like restructure and cut, and I really wish we could have gotten a trilogy out of this because I think it would have been done to another level of like we could get to know this story and these things. It actually feels sometimes like a history book, but like a really, really good history book because I don't like history. I never liked history classes and stuff like that. I love learning about history. Not in class though, because it's always really dry. But this kind of like learning about history and stuff like that is really interesting to me. So yeah, I just thought I'd pop in with that little update. I'm liking it. Right now, it's kind of sitting at a 3, between a 3 and a 4 star. So the last 100 pages better blow it out of the fucking water for it to be a new favorite or even close to a new favorite. But can't wait to see where the next 100 pages go and then where like the next book in the duology goes, because this is gonna be, I think, absolutely fucking epic. And I think this one actually might be one that's gonna get better on a reread just because I can see more of what Shelly Parker-Chan is doing with their writing and the way that they're structuring the story. Because I'm not familiar with the history or what this is based off of, I think I should do my research and then come back to the book eventually and reread it. But I'm gonna go to my lunch and I will update you guys when I'm finished She Who Became the Sun. Hello, my lovely friends. It has been a hot, sexy second. Hello. I'm popping in with a final update for She Who Became the Sun because I realized I never updated you when I finished this book. And I mainly, like, I left it like a day because I needed to wrap my head around the story and like really get things straight. I still have no coherent thoughts to even explain how I'm feeling about this book. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 star. I gave it 4.5 stars. It's so good. It didn't move me in a way that a favorite book does. So that's, and I did want more. I wanted more of a connection to the characters, and I think that the choice of the narration, which I have discussed previously about the fact that it is a fast moving through time situation and it is a little bit detached from the characters. It's one of those books that you, like, I feel like I couldn't really attach myself to the characters, but I did love like all the characters in a way that's like, they're not lovable characters, but these characters are so juicy and delicious, and they have so much to say, and the conversations being had in this book is so fantastic. I believe I've mentioned them before about the fate, about the gods, about the non-binary intersectionality of gender in this book is just so good. It is so good. It's so fabulous. So just a masterpiece. This book is a masterpiece, and the reason why I didn't give it that full 5 stars because I did want a little bit more from it to like move me. It's such a weird thing to say, is that I wanted more and I wanted this book to move me in a way, but it was still fantastic, and I'm very excited to eventually come back to it and reread it because I think this book is going to be even better on the second time around because I will be able to like really dig my teeth into it and really get to like know the characters and stuff. And then of course this is a part of a duology, so I will be looking out for the next one when it comes out because Shelly Parker-Chan is quickly becoming a author that I will immediately buy from again, which is amazing. But yes, alright, first Sapphic Trifecta book down, and this one did not disappoint in the Sapphic area either. I will say that I think because of the detachment from the characters, I feel like I wanted more from Zhu and Ma's relationship, but it was still really cute and still really good and just absolutely heartbreaking. I think Ma is my favorite character in this entire book. She was just exceptional the whole time, and her arguments with Zhu over wanting and desire and gender throughout this are so good and so interesting to me. I don't know, this was fantastic. Anyways, I'm gonna stop because I have talked about that for a while, and up next is Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri, and I'm very excited about this. This is book 2 of this video, and I'm gonna go start it now. Hello friends! It's been a hot second. I was just sitting reading right now and I realized that I never gave you guys an update as to what I'm doing with the Jasmine Throne, and I'm nearly done it. Guys, this book is so good. It's ridiculous. Every time I read this, I get so sucked in, and I'm so in love with the way that Tasha Suri has written this book and has constructed these characters and just absolutely molded this world and this magic system and these political systems that are moving in this book. It is delicious, it is delightful, and I'm adoring every second of it. It is taking me a long time to get through because I don't have time as much to devote to books like this during the week anymore, so it's been a while since I started it, but I am now 374 pages in and I'm loving it. I don't remember if I gave you guys a like synopsis last time I talked to you, but it is essentially about Priya, who is a girl from this world, this kind of old world where she once was a temple child, and she was of these beings who lived in the Hiranya and became rich with power through the like ritualistic nature of going through this body of water that they called the Deathless Waters that lives beneath their temple and moves all the time. So it's like a really rich piece of magic in this world. And at the time that this story starts, she is one of the last ones alive because the emperor, who is also an important person in this, ordered all of the people and all of the children burned of the Hiranya. And he used the excuse it was like a religious thing that he was doing, that none of his atrocities were atrocities because they were done in the name of faith. And so he did that, and he in this doing this, he tried to have his sister be burned alongside of them, but she refused. And so he now imprisons his sister and is completely depleted her of life. She's a prisoner, nothing more, and she is drugged on the daily, and she just is living a completely listless life. And they meet because Princess Malini is imprisoned in the place of where all these people burned, the burning of all these temple children. She's placed there to be imprisoned there. She's moved there at the beginning of this book from another place, and she's not allowed any contact with anybody else except for her jailer, who is the mom of another girl who actually did burn in that massacre, and she hates Malini above all else and is just the worst person alive besides the emperor. At the beginning of this, Priya is part of the general's maidservants population, and she eventually gets tasked to be Malini's maidservant, and then they cook up an escape for Malini while there's a rebellion happening outside the walls. So it is like this taking back of a place that was ripped from the true people, the Ahiranya people, and they are wanting their place back, and there's rebels and there's rebellion and there's politics, and it's just so delicious. And of course it's sapphic, and the sapphic layers in this are so delicious. Like, compared to She Who Became the Sun, we are actually getting these feelings from these women. We're getting inside their heads and we're seeing them be drawn to each other. There's some scenes in this where Malini and Priya are just walking around the temple, essentially. I think that's what it is. Malini's very, very sick, right? So Priya's holding on to her basically, and it's just these little moments of such personal introspection, and their conversations don't really mean anything, but they mean the world because they're just so lovely. I love this book. This book is becoming a fast favorite. But yeah, I'm gonna go finish this because I don't have much left on the audiobook, so I think I'm gonna try wrap this up today, and I'll let you guys know how I feel at the end. But oh man, Tasha Suri can really write a damn book. Oh, and the characters are just delicious, and I don't really care for many of the other characters that are around this, because it's not just a dual POV between Priya and Malini. It's you get all sorts of different points of view from around the kingdom and stuff like that, so you get what's happening in the rebellion, you get what's happening in the other places that matter. But every time I get to either a Malini or a Priya chapter, I get so excited because I'm just yes, my girls are back, and it's so delicious, and I'm enjoying it so much and annotating it so much. It's such a great time. I'll catch up with you guys when I'm done. Oh my god, this book, so good, so good, so good. I love it so much. You guys, my guys, read this book. It is so delicious. All my points from before stand about the writing, about the storytelling, incredible. I devoured 60% of this book today because I just couldn't put it down. That ending, oh, was it good? oh, is it good? And then like, so many things happened that I really expected to happen, and I was like, yes! Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I can't remember if I said there was gonna be spoilers or not in this video. So, spoilers. But the choice for Malini and Priya to leave each other, and what that does for both of their characters. The fact that Malini, like the whole time I'm just sitting there, is like as soon as she like left Priya and like started standing on her own, and then Priya went back to the city and Malini went off to go find her good brother to convince him to be emperor. I was sitting there, I was like, no, 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 you need to be empress. You need to rule, because you have the mindset of a ruler. You have been through so much, you've been so broken, you know what it is to suffer and to sacrifice. Like, you need to be an empress. And when she finally accepts that, beautiful. And like the mythology in this, so delicious. Oh, and the magic is so good. Just it's one of those things where it's just like, it's one of those books where you just want to squeeze everything. It's so good, you just want to squeeze everything. So like, this is definitely a favorite of the year. Easy, easy, easy 4.5, 5 star. I'm gonna have to sleep on it to make sure that I'm not just rating it off of my euphoria of finishing the book, but oh, it's so good. Yes. And then the epilogue right at the end, I was waiting for the whole time you don't get any of the Emperor Chandra, the asshole's point of view, who has like basically caused all this turmoil across this entire book. He's the reason for everything. You don't see him at all in person or in point of view or anything until the very, very end at the epilogue, and it is creepy, and it is 2 pages of just deliciousness, and it makes me so excited for the next one. Oh my god. I need to read more of Tasha Suri's work, like right now. Wow, this was so good. Oh my god, oh my god. Alright, my friends. Next up is The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. Next up and last up is this baby, the third of the Sapphic Trifecta. This one, I believe, was released first out of all of these this year, and it, from what I've seen, has had incredible love around it. So this is next. I'm very excited about this one. I think I'm gonna let my joy for the Jasmine Throne sit for about a day before I start this one, but this one's up next. And I will let you know my starting thoughts when I actually get into this one. Hello friends, it has been a hot second since I talked to you guys, but I figured I would pop in with a little update regarding The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. Hi, hello. I am over halfway, just over halfway, can't really tell, but there's always that like reading guide in the back of Tor's books. So over halfway, and it's taking me too long to get through this book. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the narrator of the audiobook, because I'm not like the biggest fan of her. Her tone of voice just doesn't fit this story. It's jarring every time I listen to it. And like, there's supposed to be chemistry between the two main characters, but I just don't see it. I don't see it. And every time like Terrain, our main character, is like, oh, I really want to be here. I really want to stay, but I shouldn't. And I'm just like, why though? Like, we don't see any reason that you two would be attracted to each other. Any like actually good banter. Right now all we see is a master and a servant. And I don't get it. I don't get it. So halfway through, and it's okay. It is just okay. I'm hoping that it gets better, because the story is intriguing with the rebels and the soldier life and that kind of a thing. So Terrain, our main character, she has basically, at the beginning of this, she's in a position where she and her troop, because she's a soldier, a lieutenant, are moving back to her homeland, which she was taken from at the age of 5 to become a soldier. So she's essentially a child soldier, which is intriguing. And she's going back to this homeland. And the first day there, she rescues the princess from an assassination attempt. And the princess is like a foreign princess, not the princess of the land. Is going down the road or whatever. And so Terrain does that. And then at the hanging for these rebels who tried to assassinate the princess, the man recognizes her as like her mother's daughter, which also unbelievable, because if he hasn't seen her since she was 5, how, unless she was a spitting image of her mother? We do meet her mother in this, and I don't see it. Like, it's the scowl that's the only thing, like it's an expression that is the only thing that makes them look alike, which is interesting. I like that part of it. But yeah, it's the child soldier bit that's bothering me, because also Terrain's mother hates her for no reason at all, and I'm like, bitch, your daughter was taken away from you at the age of 5 to become a soldier. Why do you hate her? What has happened? I
I don't know what's happening. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, Terrain, there's an incident where she's framed for something and she loses her position as lieutenant, and she's given the option of becoming nothing, dying, or becoming essentially the princess's butler, because the princess, or Terrain, like begs the princess for the favor that she's owed for saving the princess's life. And so the princess is like, sure, you can become my butler or whatever. And so they kind of join forces to, what is the princess trying to do? She's trying to make an alliance with the rebels in the city, which I don't understand where her authority is coming from, because she's described as like the foreign princess. I am very confused. That's the main thing, I think. I don't understand the romantic tension between our two main character leads that there's supposed to be romantic tension for. But I do really like Luca, the character. She is fantastic. She's the princess. I love her. She's awesome. But I just don't see the chemistry and the relationship between her and Terrain right now, because it's just master-servant situation where she's just using Terrain. I don't know, guys. So we're gonna see how the rest of this book turns out. We're gonna see, because I want to love this one so much as well. I do. I really, really do. I don't want this video to end on like a sour note, but I really want to love this third book in the Sapphic Trifecta. Hopefully it turns around. I have a feeling that it's mostly the audiobook narrator that's kind of tainting my experience, because it like threw me off from the beginning, but I'm having a hard time like focusing on the book, which is so weird. I don't know why. Maybe it's the writing style, but the writing style is so easy to follow. That's the vibes right now. I guess you can't love every book you read, right? So those are the vibes. It's okay right now. There's also interesting, because there's like the idea in this book around magic is like magic and religion and the gods, which is like you get your magic from the gods. All of that belief system, if you believe that, you're like deemed as crazy and ridiculous. Like there's no room for religion in this world, which I find intriguing, because that brings up like underground magics and stuff, and then we're just starting to get into the fact that there are magic users in this world. So it's interesting. I'm interested. I just want there to be more. Like the Jasmine Throne, every time I keep thinking about all these Sapphic Trifecta books, the Jasmine Throne really did it with the characters. Like she who became the sun, the story was really interesting, but I just didn't get enough of the characters to see that relationship pull. It was more of like a telling instead of a showing. And then in this one, I don't see the chemistry at all, even though we get the points of view from both inside Luca's head and inside Terrain's head. I don't see the chemistry, but in the Jasmine Throne, it was done so perfectly from both inside the main character's head and the princess's head. It was done so beautifully. I also love the fact that all three of these books are dealing with like royalty. I didn't notice that tie before now. Anyways, I'm gonna keep reading this, and I will get back to you if I have more pressing thoughts, or when I'm done.
Hello everyone! It is now a few days later, and I am officially popping in to wrap up this vlog, because I did manage to finish The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. So let's start this off with my thoughts about The Unbroken. So I finished it this weekend, and I did enjoy the second half more than I enjoyed the first half, but I still, like, all my previous points stand. I don't understand the chemistry. I don't understand the relationship between our two like love interest, our main Terrain and the princess. I don't understand why there's like love there. There was no evidence of it in the text other than them just being like, oh my god, I love her. And I'm like, why? There's no reason to. She was your subordinate, or she was your master for a while. Like there shouldn't be any love there. So that really bothered me. But like also I just didn't love the way this book went. I forced myself to power through it. You know, it was one of those things. So we're kind of ending on a little bit of a sour note. I don't know when I'm gonna end up rating this. It might be like a 3-star. I don't know, but I don't think I'll be finishing or going on with this series as they come out unless I hear like incredible things about it, which is so sad because all I've heard about this one is people just loving it so much. So I guess I'm in a minority of not liking this one. But alright, so we have officially come to the end of this video, but guys, we have done it. We have made our way through the entire Tor and Orbit Sapphic Trifecta. We started with She Who Became the Sun, then I read The Jasmine Throne, and then I read The Unbroken. I think you guys probably already know how this rating is gonna go, but I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. This one was like 4.5 stars, and this one's gonna be probably a 3-star. I adored The Jasmine Throne, and I cannot wait to see what Tasha Suri does next, and I will be picking up her previous books that she has written because I love the way she writes so much. Her characters are just so real. I love it. And the Sapphic relationship in this, perfectly well done. I loved it so much. Their chemistry was perfect. Their love for each other was perfect. Yes! Give me more Princess Malini and Priya. Ooh, every day, all day. And then the She Who Became the Sun, I recognize that it is a bloody masterpiece, and it is so well done in what it does and the discussions that it has. But I will say that I wish I could have connected to the characters more. I think the main thing in this takeaway was that I love the characters. I liked the characters, wish I had more of attachment to them, and then in here I was like, about the characters. Like, I didn't really feel like they were well-rounded and well done in their relationship aspect. Like, the characters individually in the Unbroken, they were really well done. Like, I really liked Luca as a character, and I really liked Terrain as a character, but I just didn't see them, I didn't see their relationship at all. I am so glad that I did this though. The Sapphic Trifecta, highly recommend you guys investigate, pick these up, pick them all up, pick one of them up. I don't know, if you pick only one up, pick up the Jasmine Throne because it's my favorite. So good. And if you're feeling something a little bit more ambitious and like the Poppy War, pick up She Who Became the Sun. And if you want maybe to try this, it's like a rebellion with like a leader who's come to this land and shouldn't really come to this land. Like, there's a lot of political stress in this one. So those are my thoughts about the Sapphic Trifecta. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me while I read through these. I don't really know what else to say. So I'll catch you in another video very soon. Stay kind and keep on reading.